Walking on eggshells. I just realized my light is creating a really cool shadow in the background. Yeah, so I got this shadow guy. It's pretty cool. It has nothing to do with this video right now. Ooh, I got my pistol here, so you can see me quick draw in the shadow. Anyway, okay, back to topic here. Walking on eggshells. So when your chick says that she feels like she has to walk on eggshells around you, or that she is basically not comfortable, like she has to, watch her behavior kind of stuff, like she feels like what she's telling you, here's what you're doing. What you're doing is you're explaining too much. All right? That's almost 90% of the time when she says something like, I feel like I have to walk on eggshells around you, or that kind of sort of thing, it's because it could be because you're blowing up. Well, okay, let's rule out that you're not blowing up on her every 5 minutes and having beta male hissy fits. Let's assume that you're not doing that, okay? So if you're not having hissy fits on her every 5 seconds, where is this coming from? What do you mean? Or she says you're being controlling, or I feel like you're trying to control me all the time, but you're not yelling at her, you're not that person. So then what is she talking about, right? Well, what it is you're explaining. That's the problem. So, let's track backwards. I've covered this in other videos, but the female brain works different, and the relationship she has with you is an emotional exchange. Never forget that your relationship is an emotional exchange. It's not a logical one. It doesn't mean that she's not capable of logic. It doesn't mean that you can't have logical discussions with your chick, okay? But when you're in the relationship and logic is required, sometimes that might not happen because it's an emotional exchange, not a logical one, right? It's when you're separated from the emotional event, that's when logic can happen for a female, okay? For a guy, logic usually will happen first if doesn't have baggage or trauma over it, and then the emotion happens later, all right? So, because here's how the information travels, just to review, it's instinct first, okay? Unconscious mind or bag of experiences, previous experiences that you're behaviorally responding to. Next thing for a female is emotion next, and then it's logic next, okay? That's the flow chart for how information travels. For males, it's the same thing, instinct, unconscious mind, then it's logic first, and then emotion next, unless there's a trauma or damage or some sort of like PTSD event type thing, then sometimes emotion will happen prior to the logic, but usually that's driven more by the unconscious mind though. So the male brain is generally wired to logic first, okay? So let's take an example. Let's say you have an event that you're going to. Let's say it's a work event, Christmas party, right? Stuff like that. And you're supposed to be there at 6 o'clock, okay? And she knows it's important to you. There's a lot of cool things scheduled. She knows that you want her. It's very clear that you want her there. This isn't a casual event, okay? And she's supposed to, let's say, meet you at your place, and then you're going to leave from there one car, all right? And let's say now it is 6:30. It's not, well, let's say 6, you're supposed to be there. It's 5:30, and she's not there. She's not calling or texting you, nothing. Do you know what I mean? You see that she's posting, let's say, on social media, at 5:45, you know what I mean? And it's just like, so that she's at home, you kind of, she's home or whatever. It's not like she got in an accident, but she's just not calling or texting or anything. And she knows this thing is important. Do you know what I mean? And so she's basically, it's kind of a massive shit test, right? She's basically disrespecting your time. She's disrespecting the thing that you guys are supposed to do together, that importance. She's out of your frame at this point, or she's trying to be. There's a lot of things that's happening, right? So like the alpha mistake, right? Or this is kind of an alpha mistake, is because it's as natural alphas, if you're a natural alpha, or if you've come into your alpha self, we'll say, you get used to kind of being able to dictate other people's behavior. You're getting used to expressing, like telling people what to do, basically, right? And so you get into a scenario where you're telling your chick the standard. You know what I mean? Like, you get in these long conversations of, no, you're disrespectful to me because you were showing up late and I'm not going to tolerate that. And, you get into these lengthy discussions. You get into explaining. You send her these lengthy texts of explanation. You know what I mean? Because your logical male mind wants to explain shit, so she sees it as mansplaining, right? It's where mansplaining such a thing, and where they even come from is because guys explain shit, right? That's how our minds work. Of course, never mind the fact that the whole mansplaining concept is completely disrespecting the male form of communication. That's another story, but male priorities don't matter in our society apparently. But what you're doing is, by explaining stuff, she is going to perceive it on an emotional level as being dictated to and as being told what to do. All right. Have you ever told your kid what to do? Like, see a kid, or if you've babysat before, even, whatever. And like, have you ever told your kid to hurry up and he drags his feet? You know what I mean? It drives you crazy. You just kind of want to throw him through a wall. You're like, I said, hurry up. I'm coming. Like, you know what I mean? Think of like your average, 6, 7, 8-year-old. I am hurrying, and he's like clearly dragging his feet, and you just want to, So, yeah. Well, it's because the kid is being dictated to, and he feels like he's being controlled, or there's an attempt to control him. So he's trying to, execute his little. And he's in the submissive position because he's the child, so he's trying to execute his own level of control and influence, and so it becomes a power struggle. So when you have these conversations, you know what I mean? You want to have a deep conversation of why the concept of, respecting each other's time, like, she knows she should respect your time. She's not fucking stupid. She knows she's wrong by showing up late, not calling, not having any, not saying, hey babe, I'm running late, like whatever, you know what I mean? And coming up with an alternative plan. She knows she's in the wrong. She's just more or less, for whatever reason, testing your resolve. Are you going to be a bitch, or are you going to tolerate it? Or, are you the strong man that she thinks you are? Or are you actually that weak man who's going to tolerate her bullshit and fall into her imperative? And the answer is, you're not the weak man who's going to tolerate her imperative. However, dictating to her and getting into these explanations of standards, that's what we want to do as men. Like, we don't want our women to break the standards we have, so we always want to express the standards and logically explain it. And that makes her feel like she's being dictated to. That makes her feel like she's being told what to do. Even when you're not yelling at her, even if it's you doing it in the most open, communicative way as possible, where it's not an argument. She feels like she is being, and now she is like, I have to check all these blocks or he's going to be mad at me. And then she feels like she's walking on eggshells. Okay? Because remember, this is an emotional exchange. So what you've done now is you've communicated with your woman all in this logical category and level, and she's not feeling anything compelling. All she's feeling is that she's being dictated to, and her feelings, and that there's an attempt to control her. And if she's not a complete, utter submissive, which most women are not, and those who are, in fact, often have insecurity issues that create other problems. But, if she's somebody who's like her own woman and has her own thoughts, you know what I mean? Which most should and do have, right? She's not just going to fall in line with that and be happy with it. She may listen to you for a while, but then after a while, she's going to stop listening. Okay? So like, and again, it's sometimes you do tell you say, hey, get the fuck over here. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And it's, especially in terms of play, sexual play, telling her what to do can be attractive. You know what I'm saying? Say, hey, be ready by 8 o'clock, wear that outfit or whatever, that can be an attractive thing. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about getting into lengthy explanations. Things that I do in these videos, for example, are lengthy explanations, but the difference is you as the viewer and me as the person delivering the content, we're not in an emotional exchange right now. We're not in a relationship. I'm giving you the logical, paradigm and logical parameters to follow. And so it resonates with dudes, and it resonates with females too, because, the female listening to this, it's not in the context of some relationship. If I sat down and did a 10-minute video worth of explanation on my chick, she would feel like her whole instinctual chimpanzee brain's going to be like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, you've said the same thing 3 times. Like, she's just like, her whole instinct, her female instinct is going to repel to my explanations because it's not an emotional connection or exchange. So in the example of her being late and being completely disrespectful, not calling, she's home or whatever, just grab your shit and go to the event. And don't call and don't say anything. Okay, that's it, Now there could be, of course, it's a judgment call. There's times where you might say, hey, are you on your way? ? Text, right, or something. But, for the most part, if she's completely violating a standard, there is no discussion that needs to be had. Just go to the event, right? And have fun at the event. She might call or text or whatever. That's fine. You can call her and text her when you get back. All right? She's completely disrespected your time. She's disrespected who you are as a person. So your choice is you can yell at her for it. But that's, also, so here's the thing. When you yell at somebody like that and you're trying to control their behavior, although you're using aggression to try to control them, okay? Again, sometimes sexy to the female in the right context. In this context, it's not sexy, all right? And what ends up happening is, even if they listen to you, even if they know you're right, even if you could win the argument, right? But emotionally, they're going the other way. Okay? Because you're not speaking to them in a manner or communicating to them in a manner that will emotionally draw them to you. If you're chasing them down and telling them what you expect, and I really, like all this stuff, you're actually chasing them for the behavior you want. All right? You're kind of, in a sense, qualifying to them. Even though it seems alpha and you're telling them what to do, you're hoping and wanting the right responses from them, which means that they're now in the position of power to give you those responses or not. In a submissive manner, she actually ends up with being in power. And as we know, if you listen to other things, her hypergamous brain has to see you as the male as better. Okay, I know it sounds weird and a lot of females aren't going to like how that sounds, but without lack of a lengthy, another 10-minute video to explain that, okay, she needs to look upward towards her man. She can't feel like her man is down here and that she has to elevate him. She can't feel like, and this is why she'll even use words like, well, he's insecure, so he's going to get mad when I do this. It's not that he's insecure, it's that the woman's breaking the standard. But she'll perceive it as an insecurity because he's busy explaining all of it from down here. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's trying to dictate the behavior that he wants instead of actioning something. So if you action something and you have what's called no fucks given or outcome independence, meaning I'm going to have a fucking great time whether you are on board or not, and I don't give a fuck. If you're not going to come with me, you're fucking lost, right? If that is, like in this scenario in the example, if you execute no fucks given, now you're showing through action the behavior you want. Do you know what I mean? By removing your attention. Like, what leverage do you have? You can annoy her through explanations. That's one thing. You can out-aggress her, which could, dissolve into abuse even, right? And is also controlling and going to get you that same negative emotional response. Or you can remove attention, remove time, and remove effort, right? If she's not putting in the effort and doing what you want, you remove yours for a while, okay? That is how that will register in both her instinctual brain as well as her emotional mindset of what's going on. When she feels you pull away, and you know what? You're not creating drama, you're not creating issue, but she knows you're not happy with her. You're just not, there's nothing to talk about. It's not like you need to have a conversation and have that communication. She knows, and if she's not approaching that with So now it puts her in a position where she has to qualify to you, as she should in this example, because she is wrong. So she has to say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, I was running late. I should have texted you. Hey, let's do this. She has to be the one to try to make it better. Not you tell her what to do and then you try to make it better. You see what I'm saying? When you do that, you're down here now. I don't care how you do it. You can be as angry and aggressive as you want. You're still down here. You're qualifying to her. Her instinctual brain will see you as less than she is. And this is why she will repel from that. Okay? So if you want her to draw it towards you, you have to have no fucks given, and you use action rather than explanation. Explanations are fine in the context of logical discussions, but in the emotional exchange of the relationship, when things are happening in real time, explanations generally will not work. This is why you have to action things, okay? So that is when she says she's walking, and I just gave a lengthy example explanation, right? But when she says she's walking on eggshells, you're probably jumping into your logical guy brain all the time and dictating to her the behavior you want. And eventually she's going to feel like she is just being controlled, dictated to, and like she can't do anything right. Of course, though, she's acting just like the kid who's slow walking at the store and not hurrying up. I'm coming. That's how she's acting with everything. She's reluctantly doing what you want and then saying, see, I can't do anything right. Even when I do it, he's blah, okay? That's what she's doing, and she will not see that. Her solipsism will not see that she's doing that. I just described like every female almost, all right? But that's the result you're going to get. You're going to get the slow walk out of the store that you get from like your 7-year-old. And then when your 7-year-old's in the car crying because you screamed at him or whatever, or because you yelled at him or you said, no, we're not going there now. We're not going to do that thing you wanted because you're just being a jerk. He's thinking, I can't do anything right. Can't make mom or dad happy. Having that little cry fit because he's not going to recognize that he's being defiant, right? And same with her. She's not going to recognize that she's being defiant because she feels like she's being controlled. So she now feels like even though she knows what she's supposed to do and she knows it's the right thing, she's going to reluctantly do it because she's going to be defiant and be passive aggressive, and you're just going to lose your fucking mind. And that's when you get more controlling. You want to yell or you want to, turn it into an argument. Well, don't do all that. Don't go down the road, okay? Don't go down the explanation road. It's not, if she knows the standard, you don't need another explanation, just act on it. Remove your attention, remove your time. You should be on your own mental point of origin where you can have an amazing time and get things done and do what you want without her, okay? So go do those things and remove that. Eventually, if she wants your time and attention, she's going to have to start doing the behaviors that are appropriate within the relationship. And when she does that, she's going to do it on her own volition versus you telling her what to do, dictating to her. She will do it because she wants to do it. And so instead of the kid slow walking in the store to leave, she's going to be running to the car, kind of a thing, to meet up with you so she can be with you, and do stuff with you, right? And that's the reaction you want. You want burning desire. You want enthusiasm. You want her to want to do things, okay? You don't get that by dictating to people, all right? You get that because they make the choice on their own volition to do it, all right? So what you're leveraging is the things that you do have power over, and you don't actually have power over her own behavior. You may think you do because you can aggress and because you can, be the dominant force, but the reality is if she doesn't want to, even if she temporarily listens, she'll stop listening when it doesn't serve her anymore. It's not what you want. So, don't make the alpha mistake. Get out of the explanations. Action. Start actioning things. Have that emotional exchange through actions versus that logical exchange where the relationship actually doesn't exist. Thanks again. Have a great day.